So welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Lokko. Thank you so much for making time to join us for another edition. So what stories made headlines this week? We'll start with the Adum fire in Kumasi in the Ashanti region and the matters arising from that incident. We'll start with the custodian. They say firefighters quench Adum blaze after 48-hour battle. The Ghanaian publisher, angry fire officers tell minister to behave. Daily Guide, Ashanti minister, GNFS pro clash over Adum fire. The Chronicle, Bawumia shows love to Kumasi fire victims, donates 200,000 Ghana cedis, 1,000 bags of cement. The Ghanaian publisher, ECG denies causing the Adum blue light fire disaster. Daily Guide, Ghanaian firefighters have no insurance. Let's see how City Newsroom captured that story. They say, we do not want to rise Adum fire victims jeer at Muntaka, another matter arising from that fire incident. Let's see what came out of that, and let me take you to City Newsroom. Adum fire traders apologize to Muntaka, call for return of donated rice. So we'll move away from the Adum fire. We'll go to the abolishment of some taxes as announced by the finance minister. Let's see that story and matters arising from that development. We'll start with Daily Graphic. They say Parliament abolishes e-levy. Bill awaits presidential assent to give it effect. Daily Guide, e-levy, gold betting, lotto taxes gone. We'll take you to citynewsroom.com. Parliament repeals e-levy. And finally, on this story, let me take you to Channel 1 Newsroom. They say e-levy's abolishment to empower small businesses. This is a Birikum West MP speaking over there. Away from taxes, let's take you to the power industry because of some disturbing development there over the missing containers at the port. So what are the stories around that? The Ghanaian Times has one of the leads to that story. They say minister orders probe into 1.5 billion Ghana cedi ECG value containers disappearance. CityNewsroom.com, ECG missing containers, 40 recovered from warehouse owned by Indian national. And finally on that story, Channel 1 Newsroom, ECG's missing containers, 40 recovered from Indian national. This is Jinapo speaking. Another story that is developing and making serious headlines has to do with a petition for the removal of the Chief Justice. What are the angles around that? Let me start with the Herald. They say Mahama consults Council of State on 3 petitions for Chief Justice's removal. Daily Graphic, petition against Chief Justice, lawful lawyers. Daily Guide, Mahama seeks Council of State's input on CJ's removal petition. Let's take you to citynewsroom.com. Chief Justice writes to Mahama, demands petition seeking her removal. Channel 1 Newsroom, Chief Justice requests copies of petition seeking her removal. So those are some of the stories around that developing story around the petitioning of the president for the removal of the Chief Justice. We'll wrap up with another story that made headlines this week having to do with the Attorney General on the former boss of the Signals Bureau Chief, who together with his wife are in custody over some monies that went missing in his institution. Let's start with the Ghanaian publisher and see what angle they had with that story. They say Attorney General under fire over public trial of Edu Buahene. The custodian will seek justice for Edu Buahene. The new publisher, Adum lawyers sue AG and Lokko. Daily Graphic alleged 39.46 million Ghana cedi diversion. Adum wife arrested. Deal was on state cyber defense software. CityNewsroom.com, Adum wife sue AG Lokko over 200 million bill. And then finally on channel1newsroom.com, Adum wife drag AG Lokko to court over hash bill terms. So those are the stories that made headlines this week. When I come back, I'll introduce my guests and then we'll take it from there. Stay with us.
Life is a celebration of moments. Big and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink adds a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Celebrate every moment with Piva Drink. Refreshment for every occasion. Piva Drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
Get ready as we take you back to your roots to experience the food, music, dance, games, and many more at the Back to Your Village Food Festival. The dates are 29th and 30th of March 2025. Time is 10 a.m. right through till 6 p.m. each day. The venue, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, AMA. Follow all Channel 1 TV and 97.3 CDFM social media handles for updates with the hashtag Back to Your Village. Entry is free, so see you there. Visit GhanaWeekend.com now.
So you're welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Lokko. In the studio, I have Samuel Atamensos here with us at Channel 1 TV, as well as City 97.3 FM. Welcome.
Thank you.
And then I also have Stella Madono also here with us at Channel 1 TV, as well as City 97.3 FM. Stella, welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
All right, gentlemen, we'll start with the petition for the removal of the Chief Justice, making some headline for about 2-3 days now, and appears it's only going to get more, interesting over the period. But is this the first time we're seeing a petition like that and then a subsequent removal?
Well, I think we saw a petition like that by Professor Azar, I think, yes, in respect of, the same Chief Justice. And a day before Nado left office, he gave a response that the petition was unmeritorious, and so it was dismissed. Mm-hmm. So this is another one we have seen in respect to the same Chief Justice. Indeed, in the past, there's been a number of issues regarding removal of Chief Justice in respect of their roles, judicial roles, etc. But, the nation is on a different trajectory. It has been on a different trajectory in different times. So with respect to this Chief Justice, this appears to be at least the second we have seen, even though there are 3 petitions. They all form maybe one. We saw one earlier by Professor Azar, and then we are seeing this one too. So interesting times ahead, really.
Right. Papa, let me take your initial thoughts on seeing something like this around the judiciary, where calls or a petition for the Chief
people have
Justice
tried
to
it
come
even in
out.
the past. Even before this one, people have tried it. We just haven't seen any succeed. And so we'll see how it plays out.
Okay. Is this a political move? People say this is more of a political thing at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, people say everything is politics, really. So I don't know. I can't say yes, I can't say no. But that's a very difficult question. So it's yeah, everything is politics. Okay, so these are the structures of state. We have the speaker, we have the chief justice for the judiciary, we have the president for the executive. All these three persons are key for the functioning of the state. When you look at and removing all these three people is difficult, and so the constitution is made specific provision for the removal of these people. So before you remove the speaker, you need, I think, 3/4 or so of all members of parliament, in agreement. Before you remove the president, it's a very elaborate process you must go through, and I think you need 2/3 of parliament at some point to do that. And to remove the CJ as well, the constitution is detailed out a process, and it is that process that has come under some scrutiny. And you see, it helps in the growth of our democracy and our jurisprudence, because people ask questions. The fact that it was done improperly in the past does not mean it should be done the same way now. We are growing, we are learning, and I think it grows the country. So a number of issues have come up. The operative constitutional article is Article 146, and we'll be hearing a lot around 146 in these days, in the coming days. 146 essentially talks about removal of justices of the superior courts and then a chairman of the regional tribunals. The Chief Justice, who is the person in focus now, first is a member of the Supreme Court. So she's covered under this. So the Supreme Court, the Justice of the Supreme Court shall not be removed from office except for 3 reasons. One is stated misbehavior, incompetence, and grounds of inability to perform his role or her role. And that could be infirmity of the body or of the mind. Once you fall within any of these 3 things, then there will be enough grounds to cause your removal. And the law says that before you can remove the Chief Justice, somebody has to petition. You petition the president, and the president has to forward the petition to the Council of State. The Council of State will have to, in consultation with the president, form, or the president in consultation with the Council of State will have to put together a committee, establish a committee that will look into the matter proper. After the committee has looked into the matter, the committee makes its recommendations, and the president has to implement those recommendations. When you look at that, that's around 146.6. When you look at that, it is slightly different from what happens in the case of an ordinary Supreme Court or Superior Court justice. In that case, the petition is sent to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice makes a determination for the prima facie, and then a committee is established or formed with the Chief Justice together with the Council of State to look into the matter. The committee makes a recommendation to the Chief Justice. Chief Justice refers the recommendation to the President acts. Now, there's an interesting thing about what we call prima facie here. When you look at the flow, in the case of the other Superior Court justices, the Constitution mentions what we call the prima facie, that the prima facie must be established before the committee is formed. Interestingly, in the case of the Chief Justice herself, prima facie doesn't appear. When you read the case of Frank Ejechun versus the Attorney General, Tema was of the view that the absence of the prima facie word or phrase in that 146.6 provision, in his view, was inadvertent. It was not deliberate, because you cannot remove the person or set up a committee when you have not established a prima facie. It is important in this case because the Constitution says that once a committee is formed, the president may acting on the advice of the Council of State by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice. So how do you suspend somebody when a prima facie case has not been made out against the person? That the bias of the view that if that were deliberate, what it would mean is that any frivolous application or petition would come, whether a prima facie case is established or not, a committee will be formed, and the president may suspend the Chief Justice. And now the committee may come up with any result. The result is unfavorable, it means the Chief Justice is going. It may open the floodgates for a lot of frivolous applications or petitions to come. In his view, it was inadvertent. And what the judiciary did in that sense was to imply the prima facie into the Constitution. Indeed, when you look at the Committee of Experts report, and the Committee of Experts, they presented the draft of the Constitution to the Consultative Assembly. So what happened was that when you look at the Committee of Experts report, you know, that's a draft Constitution. On the removal of justices, so let me say it this way. If the president receives a petition of complaint against a judge, okay, blah, blah, blah. So see, where the petition is against the Chief Justice, the president should refer the matter to the Judicial Committee of the Council of State. After satisfying itself that there's a prima facie case, the Judicial Committee should empanel a tribunal of 5, 3 of whom shall be members of the Judicial Committee of the Council of State and other 2 appointed by Parliament, blah, blah, blah. This is the draft Constitution. This was what the Consultative Assembly fine-tuned. Okay. So the view is that the fact that it was thought that prima facie should be included and was here and was omitted there was inadvertent, because you cannot do this fairly without establishing a prima facie case, because establishing a prima facie case is key. It will lead to the formation of the committee, and once that committee is formed, the president may suspend the Chief Justice, and a lot of things may happen from there. Now, there's been another discussion about whether the Chief Justice should have a copy of the petition, before the Council of State sees it or not. You know, I think whatever the case, before the prima facie case is made, she may have to see it. Okay, she may have to see it. The Council of State will do that in consultation with the president. I'm of the view that the Council of State could say, okay, President, let's hear the woman out. Let's serve her the petition. Let's hear her out. When we hear her reasons, perhaps we'll be in a better position to determine the prima facie.
Before they move to that
to the next stage, which is the formation of the committee. There's a view also, judicial view also, that you can look at the content of the petition. Given the things alleged there, you can make a determination that, no, there's a prima facie. Now, there's a prima facie, let's form a committee, let's hear the woman out properly. But there's the overriding, matter of the natural justice, the rules of natural justice. The odi autorem partem, you must hear a man before you condemn him. Even though prima facie may not necessarily amount to condemnation. Indeed, this is not a criminal matter. But in the sense of criminal trials, the state has to prove its case. When the state proves its case, the court will say, okay, a case has been made out against you, a prima facie case has been made against you. There are times the court will say, no, you've not made a case against the people. So when the state finishes its case, or the republic finishes its case and closes its case, the court, in the case of criminal trials, will ask the people or the people may apply to file what we call a submission of no case. They'll do a legal submission to say that the guys have not been able to prove their case. So there's nothing for us to answer. That's what Atufosen and Co did. Justice Wabocho dismissed it, and they went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal upheld it and said that they have no case to answer. This is not a criminal matter. But the point I'm making is that you can found a prima facie case against somebody without even hearing from the person, as we see in criminal trials. But in matters like this, it is generally the way to go, that you hear from the person. And I don't think it is necessarily too late to hear from them, because the Council of State, as far as we know, has not made any prima facie determination yet in consultation with the president. So, it's I think everybody is speaking, it enriches the discussion. But I think things will fall in place.
Have we seen the contents of the petitions?
No, we've not seen the content of the petition. And it is important because the law is clear on it, that the content of the petition must not be made public.
Okay.
All of these things should be in camera. In camera only doesn't refer to the sittings of the committee or the sittings or consultation process with the Council of State. The petition itself must not be made public.
Okay.
But of course, every now and then we see these petitions leaked out to the public. But this particular one, I haven't seen it yet. In fact, we don't even know the persons who are behind it. So, it's an interesting process, but I think things will fall in place.
Okay, let me bring you in some. This is a lot of legal talk going on, but from a layman's point of view and all that, what do you make of all that we are seeing around this
Well,
issue?
I think he's captured it. I mean, I have nothing to add. I have nothing useful to add. Basically, let's determine the merit of the case. That's all. This premier facie by back and forth. Everybody is doing premier facie. Just say that at first glance, the merit of the case.
Yeah.
That isn't worth pursuing. You understand? And it's been captured and structured in a legal framework so that it can protect either party.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the Chief Justice, being who she is, has also requested that, look, if the investigation is about me, then I deserve to know what it's about so I can adequately prepare to, and I think that's fair, But you asked an earlier question whether it's political. Of course it is political. I mean, what were you expecting? And that's not to say that it's unfair, because we don't know what is there. But indeed, it is political. You can't look at it any other way. It is political. But again, let me repeat, that's not to say it's not fair.
Yeah.
But we are all anxious to know what it contains, and then secondly, where it's going to lead to. But like Selim was saying, if this succeeds, then it sets a certain pathway of how we deal with our Chief Justices, and then in the case of the Electoral Commissioner, because at some point we heard that there were petitions against the Electoral Commissioner as well.
Yeah.
So we will drive ourselves to a certain space where every government that comes will find ways of removing the Chief Justice, removing the Electoral Commissioner, so they bring their own. So eventually, the tenure of Electoral Commissioner and Chief Justice will just be coterminous with that of the President.
The presidency.
And then they will wear party colors and come and sit down.
But isn't that a dangerous precedent we're setting as a country?
No, it is dangerous. That's the point I'm making. But fair to say, if they have committed they've done some wrongs that will merit their removal, so be it. There's no question about that. Because that's what the Constitution allows for. Okay, but what we know is that you can't twist the Constitution beyond a certain level. So that's why she says that, bring it on. Let me know what you have against me so I can respond. And I think that's also fair.
Okay, we'll see how that pans out in the coming days.
The role of the Council of State, very important in this. Of course, I mean, there's been some interest in the Council of State in the last few days, last few weeks, leading up to their election, etc. Where now we saw people campaigning openly with billboards, etc., to be on the Council of State, and the confusion that characterized that exercise in Kumasi and a few other places. So the Council of State is key. There are three kinds of people on the Council of State. There are people we call the ex officio members, who are there by virtue of the positions they've held in the past or the positions they hold, like the chairman of the National House of Chiefs. No matter who he is, whether you like him or not, he has to be there. And that explains why Tobe Afede was in the last two Council of State. He was there by virtue of his position as the president of the National House of Chiefs. There should be a former Chief Justice on the committee. That's how come Georgina Wood was in the last one. There should be a former IGP. In this case, we have the Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, former IGP in the Mahama one era. And then we have a former CDS or a retired CDS, Air Marshal Michael Samson Oje. These are ex-official members. There are persons who are appointed by the president to be on the committee. So we have a number of them, about 9 or 10 of them are appointed by the president to be on the committee. And the last batch are those who are elected
yeah.
on regional basis.
Yeah.
And there are quite some interesting people. So this matter, for example, will be referred to has been referred to the Council of State. The Council of State may sit as a group, everybody looking at it, but I think that will be unruly, that may not be efficient. They have a committee called the Judicial Committee. So that committee, obviously the Chief Justice will be on that committee, perhaps chair.
So that has a number of like how much? 5?
I don't know how many will be on it, but the point I'm trying to make is that there are quite competent people in the Council of State, on the Council of State, who can be on that committee and do a good job. So Sophia Kufu is there. She's been former Chief Justice.
Yeah.
Betty Modi Drisu is one of the appointed persons there, former AG. There's Mohamed Mumuni, we know him, lawyer, foreign affairs, etc. He is there. A number of very distinguished persons, even the IGP, former IGP and all those guys may know a thing or two about law. And the chairman himself, Right Honorable Dua Jaho, distinguished lawyer who knows, about law, etc. All of these guys are there. So I think we should trust in what they can do or they should be able to do. Yes, it may be political, but at some point there's a reason why
it has to come depending on the outcome.
Yeah, there's a reason why a certain caliber of people get on the Council of State.
Yeah.
That's why recently when the young guy from Western Region got onto it generated a lot of discussion, because the general view is that people on the Council of State are the people of a certain experience, a certain caliber, of a certain age, etc., because they would have seen a lot in life. I think they must bring to bear all those experiences. Chief Justice, he's seen it all. I think he's the longest serving person on the Supreme Court bench, Sophia Kufu. They've seen it all. They must bring all those things to bear. And if you've been dispensing justice, the expectation and the assumption is that you've been doing so fairly. And so they should apply the same tools of fairness to this process and ensure that whatever comes out, of course, not everybody will be happy, but generally, when people consider the petition allegations and consider the result, they will have a semblance of fairness in it.
Okay, we'll have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll still stay with issues to do with the legal fraternity. That one having to do with the former boss of the Signals Bureau agency, him together with his wife currently behind bars over some transactions. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Get ready as we take you back to your roots for an unforgettable experience and treat you to delectable, authentic Ghanaian cuisine from the Akan, the northern and southern villages at the Back to Your Village Food Festival 2025. Let's also treat you to a collection of authentic Ghanaian music, traditional dances, some authentic Ghanaian games, and great networking. The date is the 29th and 30th of March 2025. The venue is the forecourt of the AMA and the time is 10 a.m. right through till 6 p.m. each day. Come and enjoy some incredible performances that will transform you straight to the heart of our rich cultural heritage, from the Just Groove Band, Ejojinam Fafali Bobobo, Dromona, National Dance Ensemble, Kwampa, and the Adaha Dance Band. Be part of the celebration and let's go back to our roots and discover the flavors and rhythms that bind us all. Follow Channel 1 TV and 97.3 CDFM social media handles for updates with the hashtag Back to Your Village. Entry is free. See you there. The Back to Your Village Food Festival 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from 97.3 CDFM and is proudly sponsored by Gino, Goa Natural Cocoa Fruit Juice, Pan-African Savings and Loans, Jibu Water, Trinam Industrial Company, Contract Cleaners Association of Ghana, and OCM.
So welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. I'm Vivian Lokko together with Samuel Tamenza and Salima Donu, bringing you some of the top stories for the week and matters arising and the various angles around it. We'll move to the former Signals Bureau chief and some issues coming around that. We are told he, together with his wife, are currently suing the AG and the Lokko over the bill, 200 million Ghana cedis, we're told, and they're still behind bars because they've not been able to make that money. But Salom, take us through the whole legal issue we're seeing here as well with regards to the transaction. Then I'll bring in some students. It appears most of the issues are legal stuff.
Yeah, we are learning.
You have to become a lawyer by force.
Oh, no. I'm okay where I am.
Well, so bail. I mean, when you have a matter, and you are held in custody, you should not be in custody forever. Indeed, the law is that you shouldn't be held in custody for more than 48 hours without the law permitting them to do so. So we call it unlawful custody.
Yeah.
So when an investigative body like the IOCO or the police, etc., are investigating a matter and they want to keep you, and they keep you approaching 48 hours, they must go to court to legally ask that they want to keep you or put you on remand because they haven't concluded investigation. So the court makes that determination. When they take you to court, they will make their case. You also have a lawyer. Your lawyer will make a case. The bail will be given. That's a court bail. But the investigative body can also grant you bail. That is bail pending investigation.
Okay.
When they take you to court and they grant you bail, that is bail pending trial. If the matter is concluded and maybe you lost the matter and you are in jail, you can come with bail, application for bail pending appeal. All of that, the court will have to make a determination. But the bail pending investigations, I mean, the one the investigation bodies generally will give, they do so based on their discretion. I don't know which one this was, but it does appear to me that it was the investigative body that gave the bail. And the bail comes with conditions. You should be able to meet certain conditions before you can go away or you be admitted to bail. What we say is that the conditions for bail must not be punitive. You must not use the bail as punishment. Okay. So they may ask you to fulfill certain conditions. They may ask you, so for example, there was a matter we were doing, and the court said that the person should get a chief as a surety.
Wow.
But this person had gone to knock down somebody on the road to the central region. The person is not in the area. Why is the person, and from the area, the chief from the area, so that they are sure that the person will not run away? The person doesn't live in there, it doesn't come from the area. How does a person get a chief from the area to come and stand surety for you? So our view was that was onerous, that amounted to punishment. So we have to go back to court to ask the court to vary the bail conditions. The court can do that. So in this case, I think the point their lawyers are making is that the bail conditions given are onerous. They cannot meet the bail conditions. That is why, even though they are on bail, they are still in custody. Because they have been unable to meet the bail conditions. Perhaps one way of doing it is to go back and see if they can vary the bail conditions. Another way of doing it is to go to court like the way they are doing. So, I mean, it's a legal process playing out, and we only hope and pray that in all senses, they are fair to the people involved. Fairness is what we need. We are not against accountability. It's, in fact, one of the tenets of democracy is accountability. So accountability, yes, but let's make sure that due process is followed. Let's make sure that it is fair, the people are fairly treated, and that's what we need. I'm not saying that right now they are not being fairly treated because there's some bail. They have to meet the bail conditions. If the lawyers feel that the bail conditions are onerous, there's a process of doing it. That is what they are doing. Okay. So I think it will all come together.
Right. This case is interesting because the Attorney General actually took his time to take the public through the issue and all that. But some people say that what the Attorney General did was sort of triggering a public trial of the two people involved and not allowing the process to, take them through. Do you share the same thoughts?
No, but it's clear. I mean, look, I don't know why we create problems for ourselves. I mean, the Attorney General felt strongly that the rate at which people were accusing them of, if you like, hounding people, or from the opposite party, he felt the obligation to explain to the public what has happened in this case and how they have come to this point. Fair to him, but it still doesn't change anything. it gives people to try them even before they are tried. This is a matter of fact. You know, you feel strongly about what you're doing. I won't take it away from you, but it's still. Look, if you do a random survey, right? What people know about this Dubai issue, they will all tell you that he has stolen money. Everybody will tell you he has stolen money because that's what we heard. The Attorney General stood there and threatened banks. You know, if you do this, we'll come after you. You see, you have to calm down. You know, you are the Attorney General. You understand? You can deal with the banks without doing an opening threat and all those things, you know. But with experience, they will learn and they will calm down. That's what I believe. You understand? So what if eventually it turns out that it's not what you thought it was? How do you repair the damage? You understand? I mean, I don't know the details of the matter, but from where I sit, it's important that you give updates, but the content of your updates is of the essence. How you twist it, how you tweak it, how you position it. As we speak now, every ordinary person knows that the man has stolen money.
But how can the AG draw the line with informing and also avoiding, you know, trials?
It comes by experience. He is not the first AG we have seen. We have seen AGs come and go. And in my media life, I don't remember the AG who went to conclude that somebody has stolen and we should go after him and it's everybody, you know. So if they have to take the man to court, take him to court. You understand? So we are still investigating. So what's the rush in coming to tell us the whole thing if you are not investigating? If you say you are still investigating to the extent that it takes this long, what was the rush? If you have even half of the things he listed, Salom, I think even half of the things he listed is enough to go to court. You see, but if all the things we are doing, the ultimate objective is to recover the monies, you understand? This is the time to take the man to court so you can recover your money.
Right.
I don't know what else is there to do. Whether, you know, we say that we are in a democratic dispensation and all that, but at times the body language of some of these officials reminds me of the late 70s and the 80s. It's like we have to be brutal for people to know that you're near bread. You know, as we say, paint your eye red so that people will believe you. That's what we hear. That's what, I mean, you want to go, just calm down, invite the person. This is where we are. This is where we've got into. The days of using brute force, it's long gone. We have lived long enough to understand that in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 80s and the 90s, all these warrant officers in Ghana here who were using brute force to manhandle people, go to the harbor, go to Circle, go to all these people, go back and check how they died. Go back, check one after the other how they left this planet Earth. There are certain things you don't do because you don't own the land. Just calm down. The man has stolen, take him to court. That's all we are saying. Let me leave him there for him to show power. No, we've gone past this thing long ago. Vivian, long ago.
Salenko.
Yeah, I mean, I think this AG wants to be, I think he likes to explain things, right? So when you recall, his first few days, he withdrew some cases from court. I mean, use a tool of knowledge prosequi, etc. He really was not under any obligation to explain, but he felt like he had to provide.
But I thought we also say that sometimes they need to keep the public informed.
Yeah, that's
all the time. Yeah. All the time.
Yes.
But keeping informed doesn't mean that keep him behind bars for as long as you want. Keep us informed. And I'm saying that even if you have half of the things you listed, you should be able to take him to court. I mean, this thing of holding on, we are still investigating. This is where my problem is. If you can tell the whole world that you are still investigating, then what was the rush? If you have enough, take the person to court so that you can establish exactly what it is. Let the court establish it. If you have to jail them, jail them. You understand? Because the AG, look, he went to the point of explaining how many years they will be in jail.
Yeah.
And then calculated their ages and added to, the drama. It was just drama.
And when they will come out, what age?
I mean, I didn't expect that from the AG. I didn't expect that from the AG. Then they will calculate how old is he again? Yeah, then the wife is doing it. And then so if we add, then they will be, I mean, who cares about that? Just do your work. No two ways about that. Take them to court. That's what we are saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all I call for is fairness. I mean, because, I think it was Akufo-Addo who said of due process that you don't appreciate the nature of the process until you are the one in trouble. So the process must be fair. If it's done to you, you will not be happy. My call is I don't do it to somebody. Let's hold people accountable by all means, and let's do it in a manner that is in accord with law. That's what I call for every time.
Okay, I want to take you guys to the Ashanti region where last week we saw the fire incident. Fortunately, it's been put off, but most of all the traders who were affected have lost everything. But with that came a lot of issues. One to do with the regional minister and firefighters. Another to do with donations. The latest one, of course, is one to do with the interior minister, who donated some rice to the traders who rejected it. This evening we are told that they have apologized for that and they want the rice back. I don't know who to start with. On the matters we've seen around this is one, not more officials going there, traders expecting...
So you started with the regional minister?
Yes. The fire issues around that. He felt that they were not being fair to him in telling him there was no water in the fire tender. They say it's a procedure. You leave one without the water in there. It's part of the continuation of the firefighting process, and there was a back and forth. It's been sort of dealt with, But your thoughts around what we saw from the firefighters and the minister?
For me, I think the regional minister did what he had to do. I mean, he is the regional minister, and he's the first port of call when these things happen. Okay, in terms of responsibility to hold the region together. Yeah. He's the chairman of the Regional Security Council, right? Yeah. The RESEC. So he bears an ultimate responsibility for the safety of the people. Now, standing and watching things go as bad as they look, he had every right to complain. And he didn't come with a technical mind to determine how fire service interventions are processed. So he said exactly what he saw. And I'm thinking that if the fire service had an explanation, they were free to explain, but not to attack the regional minister. The regional minister didn't go there to attack them. He only expressed the way he felt about the situation. And we all do that. If by his expression you thought that he did not capture it within the right context, just say it. But to let it look like the regional minister is embarrassing you, it's not a beauty contest. If the thing is burning, we expect the fire to be quenched. And if they're not quenching the fire, the regional minister has every right to be frustrated. And I don't think the regional, some people should apologize for what? Just explain that, well, this is how it's done. But to go beyond it, regional minister disrespected, which disrespect? If the thing is burning, look, you should know, you should see the kind of fire that was raging. Now, if fire is raging at that level and your only outlet is through fire service, and fire service is there and they are not doing anything, then you start clapping for them and singing praise and worship. No. Papa, why are they? Why are they?
I think culturally, even what the fire service officer did by talking back, granting interviews, chastising or criticizing the minister was wrong. We don't do that. The regional minister may be young, but now you don't look at him with his age. You look at him based on the power he has. We gave him that power. And we gave him the power for a reason. Like Samuel was saying, he cannot come in because he doesn't have a technical mind. And the quote here says what? When he came there, I mean, he could have easily just approached any of our officers or the commander at the scene without having to necessarily. In fact, in our culture, If a senior person comes, you rush to him and talk to him and explain to him that this is what is happening, so this is what we are doing. So then he cannot, but why are people sitting and no, this is how we do it. When we push the fire, when we kill the fire for a while, have to wait more. You explain it to him. Maybe it's a technical, he doesn't know. Yeah. But he couldn't see himself standing there. You guys, you are the people, you are our hope. And you are sitting there, the fire is raging, the people are crying. As they are crying and rejecting rice and things and insulting people, are they insulting the fire? I said, no. It is the government or the political system they insult. Yeah. So he was there as one, a human being who saw the loss. Number two, thinking about what the political implications, the economic implications of that will be. If there are economic implications, it comes to his desk. It doesn't go to fire service. So I think the fire service guy was completely out of order. And if he has to be sanctioned, he must be sanctioned to serve as deterrent to everybody. We can't take that in this country.
You are everybody, part of the people who feel
where everybody will talk anyhow. Where everybody will talk anyhow
but
to
isn't
authority.
That, no.
You don't do that.
Yeah,
no, you do not do that. You see, we talk about respect for authority. This is how it starts. So this guy is young, and we all say he's doing well. He may have excesses. We say he's young, he's trying, etc. Let's manage. Let's help him do well. If now this guy talks to him anyhow, tomorrow he goes to say something to Lokko, and he's managing a very difficult region in our political context. If we don't help him to do well and help the region grow, we will come back. It will come back to bite us. Yeah. The fire service guy being a security guy and how security respects hierarchy and authority and what he did, he has to be sanctioned.
He has to be sanctioned. Is that too much?
No, the way he did it, I don't think that's appropriate, to be honest.
That he put camera on himself and he even asked the question. What was the quote? He even asked a question. He said, having to necessarily he didn't have to necessarily put the camera on himself to create a spectacle. To what end?
This is the fire service person.
So to what end?
I mean,
he has to put the camera on just to what end?
Disrespect, that should not be.
I mean, it's wrong. It's wrong. You don't do that.
Regional minister, the thing, look, Vivian, do you know what we are talking about? This Adum thing is more serious than people in Accra can see. Yeah. Because these are people's homes, so they're not just kiosk buildings. Adum is people reside there, and that's the complex nature of Adum. You know, so for me, when I heard that, people they say they want the place rebuilt, and I'm like, which one are you going to rebuild? Because a lot of the structures there are illegal anyway. Yeah, a lot of them are illegal. You know, before there were spaces, there were walkways in this area, you know, from Adum leading on the way to Central Preparatory School into KJTR, you know, there were spaces there. They were selling buff fruits, they were selling things around the place. The whole place is covered now. Okay, so I can understand the fire service trucks cannot enter, but that's why you have all the crane things that you use. You know, but even if you are waiting for a water tanker to come and you are sitting there, I'll be frustrated. I will be frustrated because the fire was raging on and entering into people. You could see, we all saw it live. Okay, so I think that they should leave the man to do his work and fire service. Next time, we see that's why at times when these security services are appointing people in charge of communication, at times I wonder whether they consider the enormity of the task. You know, it's not just having a microphone and saying anything, because this is the biggest test of the fire service as an institution. You know, the intervention, the real action that is executed is one, and how you engage the public, how you engage your superiors. It's all communication science, how you do it. You don't just say, do you think you are sitting on social media? I think the man has been watching a lot of social media commentary, so he just came in.
No, I think he just went off. Yeah. The guy just went off. He has to be brought, he has to be straightened. No, you don't do that. You know, he just talked. Yeah. No, you are a security person.
I'm sure that's why we went there too, and we're giving you fans.
No, you don't do that. You don't do that.
Okay, speaking of interventions, the Interior Minister also made some intervention through Nadmo. He sent some rice, and we saw videos of the traders rejecting that as well. They have come back to apologize, saying they want the rice back, which I don't know. But let me start with you. So I feel that the traders were looking for, solutions to what they've lost, and not food at this time.
Well, at least they've proven that they want the food anyway. I think the timing
was not right.
Timing. I can point to the timing as the real issue. That at the time when they were crying for help in a particular way, the next thing they do is to be giving food to eat. But I think we are making such a big deal out of this particular issue. I mean, he took the rights, whether it's Nadmo, whether it's Muntaka, we shouldn't make it such a big news item. The big news item is that the place is burnt down. What we are doing for them to have their livelihoods back is the major responsibility on government and authorities. And I think that's where our concentration should be. The complex nature is that some of them, and I know this for a fact, that they are situated at places illegally, and the system has allowed it. So when we say we are rebuilding, which one are we rebuilding? The illegal structures to shut the walkways and the pathways in between the buildings. Which one are we building? Are we rebuilding? And if we are relocating, who has the leadership mettle to determine that these people, we have to relocate them? The other day they tried, the people in Agnaga, I don't know whether they've managed to, they've succeeded. So it's a very, very difficult situation that we find on our hands.
It's sad that they had to reject the food. I think it was born out of the emotions, but they didn't have to do that. It's not correct. And now that they want the food back, have they given it?
Isn't it based on the fact that maybe somebody told them that you did the wrong thing, apologize and take it back?
So that's fine. But you see, they have to tone down. The loss has come. You have to eat first. If you eat and you are strong, you can think and you can read.
You've lost appetite.
Well, but you don't. Who caused the fire? I've not been to the place. But they have built such that there's no access routes.
Yeah.
Of course, the state has a responsibility in that. But they could have helped as well. But they didn't do what was right.
They made it difficult.
They made it difficult for the state to help them, even though the state has an overriding responsibility to ensure things are done well.
Yeah.
So, I think it was uncalled for again. The screaming, shouting, rejecting the food items, I think is just not right. It's just not right. But hopefully things get better. I hope this will bring some reforms. I don't even know how or where to begin. This burning of markets, etc. You see, the ECG and the security people, they must do something. They must do constant or regular checks on cables and things in those areas. Some are illegally done.
Would they allow you?
No, but you see, the power of the state, and the power of the state also includes educating the people. We want to come and check the thing. A lot of them do illegal anyway. But I think with education, as it has happened, I work with ECG. I'm coming to check that. You don't allow me. If it burns, it's not my house. You will suffer. Let's help you do this. If it's illegal, how can we regularize it and make it better? Things like that should happen. And if they are not allowing you, there should be a way of dealing with it. We can't continue like that. Abolishment market tomorrow, Kathmandu this time, central market, and we can't continue
but
like
why
that.
do authorities also sit and allow these illegal structures?
So that is the irresponsibility of state actors. Political will, and now these days everything in Ghana is politics. There should be political will, and there should be a way we have things working. There should be a way we have things working. There should be a way we have things working in this country. There should be a way we begin to deal with these market fires. It's becoming too much. Tomorrow you hear it's happening somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay, we have a few minutes to go. Let's wrap up with ECG. Over 1,300 containers missing. We're told this evening some arrests have been made. A couple of Indians, Chinese, as well as a Ghanaian in there. Authorities have said they'll go, all out to ensure that those people are arrested. But it's interesting how these containers passed through the ports and nobody noticed. Over 1,000 of them.
Everybody in this country, it's a serious matter.
It's a crime scene.
Because, the people are moving away with the things, nobody sees them. And it's, I don't even know how to say it. We have to sit up as a people. I hope they get to the bottom of this, the Indian man or whoever,
Chinese.
The Chinese man.
Chinese, there's an Indian too as well.
We need to get to the bottom of who sold it to them. That's where the thing is. Who sold it to them? Let's get to those people and punish them. Or you punish them.
For me, much as we want to nab those who sold it, I am least interested in those who sold it.
Who procured it?
I am worried about the port officials who supervised the movement of not 10 containers, so
1,000.
not 100 containers, 1,000 containers.
Yes.
And you take 1,000 containers can just fly off like that and people will not see.
Yeah.
No, it will take, you see, the national security people know better than I do. They will also know that it will take a system that is in place to achieve this. It cannot take just one person comes and whistles and then quickly, you are not stealing water.
Yeah.
1,000 containers, and that couldn't have been done in a day.
No.
So what I'm saying is that now we have 12 Chinese people who have been arrested, Ghanaian and Indian. What were they doing? As for them, they have bought the thing, they've gone ahead to melt the thing into aluminium bars that they are processing for export again. The thing was imported and they are now exporting. You understand? They've gone quickly, which, for them to do that, that should suggest to you that it's a business that they've been involved in for a very long time. You get me? Because, you see, the speed with which they have done this tells you that it's their business. But there are people, port officials, who have made this their practice.
Business.
It's their business. So after arresting the Chinese people and the foreigners, which is the easier one,
let's cleanse the place.
Let's go back to the place. Today is ECG materials. Tomorrow it will be
Water company.
Ghana Water Company. Or it will be EC materials. You understand? So all they do, and let's look at the rubbish thing. They did a thing and melted it into aluminium bars. And they are using the same pot to export the thing. And the port officials who supervise the thing, they are watching and they are happy that they have not been caught. National security, go and catch the port officials, from port authorities to customs, and everybody who was involved must be dragged behind bars, straight up.
We'll see how that pans out. But our time is up, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Samantha Mensah and Selim Adonu. And thank you too for joining us. We'll see you again next time. I'm Vivian Lokko. Bye-bye.